Maui no Ko'oi. Maui has been marketed for years as being number one, and there is no doubt that it is paradise. Maui is a place that attracts millions of tourists and receives international publicity as being the best place in the world to live. It has also gained the reputation of being the playground for the rich and famous, with many celebrities and corporate millionaires purchasing property and building mansions on the island. Sadly, Maui has also become the place where an average person cannot afford to buy a home, resulting in breaking up families as many young adults move to the mainland, a loss of a dynamic balance for the future. This problem also impacts on the diversity of the island needed to perpetuate ongoing growth. Housing on Maui is too expensive, resulting in not enough affordable homes to meet the demand. Maui is experiencing a crisis as a result of governmental barriers in place that makes building affordable houses difficult, a time-consuming endeavor, resulting in fewer affordable houses available to buy or rent. The obvious solution is to build more homes. Maui is an island, so there is limited land that is available to build houses. There are also many regulations and red tape which prevents competent developers from meeting the needs of the community to build desperately needed affordable housing. Housing on Maui is expensive because there aren't enough homes to meet the demand. Jumping through all the regulatory and administrative requirements is another thing entirely. Just getting the necessary permission to build a new home on Maui can take 3 to 5 years, and that's when the project is on the fast track. Ironically, the lack of urban zoning isn't a problem for developers who build mansions for the millionaires, because building a single house on an acre of land doesn't necessarily require urban zoning. This creates a perverse incentive to build mansions over much-needed affordable housing. Let's face it, due to the limited building areas available, they will all be eventually approved for development. In the big picture, there is no stopping it. It is just a matter of time. Doesn't it make sense to build homes for our ohana rather than exclusively for the millionaires? There is hope for Maui. There are developers that can provide affordable housing in West Maui who can be part of reversing the affordable housing shortage. It is time to start fast-track projects which will significantly benefit the West Maui community in many positive ways. For example, 1. Housing shortages in West Maui specifically is an immediate concern. Adding any inventory to the local market will make a large impact. 2. The area is beautiful and should be enjoyed by local Maui families who live there all year long. 3. There is a need on the west side for community spaces such as parks and gathering spaces. 4. By adding housing to West Maui, it will reduce the amount of traffic on the roads. We will be able to offer housing to those who work and want to be closer to their jobs. 5. The median cost of a home in West Maui is more than $800,000, far above any workforce qualifications. By adding more housing inventory, it will drive down these costs through the law of supply and demand, making home ownership more attainable for our communities. 6. Workforce housing allows our communities to integrate with each other instead of being separated by economic status. And lastly, it will benefit all of Maui County and all its citizens by providing a beautiful and diverse community of people who will contribute to the true concept of aloha. This thoughtful and vigorous diversity benefits all of Maui, its businesses, economy, all its citizens, its community, and its present and future value. In ending, it is crucial that we don't sell out to just the rich and famous, and that we allow affordable housing to move forward. It is sad to see the consequences of not building affordable housing. It contributes to an increasing homeless population, the breaking up of families, and the loss of our children to the mainland. It is time to stop this trend, be proactive, and move forward with the approval of fast-track affordable housing proposals. Mahalo.
All right. Well, we've got Peter Martin, we've got Kyle, we've got Dylan, and Harmony all here in the studio. And it's good to meet you. We have one of the biggest issues that is the most important issue in the world we're going to talk about, which is on Maui. We have a huge problem with affordable housing. And I want to start with you, Peter, and talk a little bit about this situation because, let's go first into your background. You've realized this problem for a long, long time. I believe you started in working with as a math and science teacher? And you were doing that, what, at Baldwin High?
Yes, my name's Peter Martin. My first job over here was a pineapple picker, and that was in the summer of 1971. And then I transitioned to truck driver in Luna, and then busboy at the Maui Surf had just opened. And then, yes, I started in the January 72, I started Baldwin High.
Wow, a pineapple picker could be a hard job. I can't even imagine how. I go by and I look at the fields and I try to, and no more pineapple pickers, but that's hot out there and hard work, right? Very, very hard work. Yeah. And so an interesting transition
Yes.
onto the high. And Baldwin High is a great school. I mean, it's an amazing school. I love the band too, and they got great, amazing teams, right?
Yes, they do.
And they're very, very community oriented, and they're all neighbors right down the street. So, when did you get involved in on caring about the homeless? Not the homeless. I guess it's partly the homeless situation, the situation of affordable housing. When did that start concerning you?
Actually, I think in 72, I transferred. The next fall, I worked at Maui High for 4 more years, and I was always waiting tables. And my wife, at the time, she got in the puka shell business and other things, and we saved money. And the next, it was a step-by-step process. I wanted to provide for my family and make money, so we saved, and then thought about different ways to invest, and I got involved in real estate. And I built my first house in Maui Meadows I think it was the summer of 74, maybe 5, something like that.
That was an amazing time,
yeah,
right?
I bought the lot for $13,000.
No.
Thanks to George Yanagi, the shop teacher, he convinced me, and I went, okay. And then,
wow, that's a beautiful area I've lived in, and I've lived in Maui Meadows, and I love it. So how did you actually get a group together, or did you build it yourself, or how did you build the home?
Well, that was very affordable at that time. I put down $2,500, and I financed the rest from it was THC. They've since gone bankrupt, and I built a little Hansor packaged home. Gosh, just think about it. We just built a packaged homes up in Haiku Town. The Hansor is still doing the package homes.
Wow. And so the whole thing only cost you about $50,000?
No, actually, that house was, because I did the work myself, the total was $30,000.
Wow.
And
that's mind-boggling. I mean, I'm trying to imagine from $30,000 now to the average median price of a house is about $700, $750?
Actually, Dylan might know that better than
Okay, Dylan. We got Dylan's here, and
Island-wide, I'd say it's in the high 700s. If you look at the different parts of the island, the numbers vary. But island-wide, you're in the high 700s for a single-family home.
Wow, that's kind of mind-boggling, isn't it, when you think about that, of what's happened. And there's really not an end in sight, is there?
No, I remember when I first got here, I was trying to scramble to figure out how to buy my first home. And I remember there was one on Wainea Street for $53,000. I couldn't figure out how to get that one. But I think Dylan has the latest prices for West Maui, which are really interesting, Dylan.
They are. If you look at homes for sale on the west side now, there's only a handful of homes, maybe 5 homes in all of West Maui that are priced under $1 million right now. And for those homes, they all require some work and renovation or things like that. So when you look at the west side specifically, the affordability issue really kind of comes into stark contrast with how desperately we need to fix this problem.
Well, you obviously understand this real estate side. I do a real estate show also with a friend on Mondays with Clint Hansen, and we talk a lot about real estate. And the situation, he keeps bringing up is there's just not enough out there. He keeps reminding me we don't have hardly any inventory, that there's never, he says, ever been such a shortage of inventory that he's seen.
Yes, Clint actually has the paintball place on Olawalo, and we know his father and the Ohana family, the Hansen family, well. The thing that I was really surprised at was Maui Lani was always considered for local people. And what I learned from Dylan and my daughter recently, who's in real estate, is those houses are being sold an awful lot too. This is what you heard, Dylan, right? What happened there?
A lot of the homes in Kehalani are being sold to folks that are second home buyers from the mainland, not first or owner occupants, folks that are living here.
And this is
Are they buying them? Is it that mean that they're kind of, a lot of them are renting them out? Is that or
they're either just a vacation home or
Yeah.
something that they plan to retire to eventually?
But the beauty of our subdivision, not one house, every single home will be owner occupied. Even we have 100 houses in this new development, which looks like it's going to get turned down, but it really looks like it's going to get turned down. But there's 100 affordable that are sold under the government's program. They're called workforce housing. They go up, sold to people whose median income is between 80% and 140%. But we also have 61 houses that we're asking to be able to sell to whoever we want. We're restricting those sales to owner occupants, 10-year buyback. We also are restricting people that are from Maui. We can do that because we're private. So it'll be only owner occupants, no resale, focused on people graduated from Lahaina Luna. We have a number of fire department people that are interested, and a number of teachers, a number of people that live right in the area. This is a real opportunity to get a 1-acre lot with a gorgeous view in a beautiful location.
with a special planned community that you have designed for easy living, and where people don't necessarily have to go outside the community for some of the things that they might like, right?
Right. For me, I live in Olawala a little bit at the time, not much, but that convenience store from Olawala store, I mean, I'll go there. Maybe I pay twice as much for something, but I don't have to drive to Lahaina or anywhere else. I just can go get a tomato or eggs or a few little things. And it's expensive, but it's a lot better than driving.
Well, I love, there's a little nice farmer's market down there, too.
Yes, that's true,
Which
too.
is very
Yes,
nice.
yes.
It's very nice for that. And on top of that, you plan to have a little park area
Yes.
as well that you're going to be building in. And I hate to say it's not possible, because the reality is that affordable housing is really needed. When we look at almost 790 for 790,000 is beyond most anyone's chance to get a home. But what we see people doing is, well, they get a house, and even if they can't afford it, sometimes then they put 10 people in there, they rent out this, they rent out that, and, next thing you know, there's like 5-6 cars parked. We've seen this. We know this. We all know this happens, and it's the only way people can make their mortgage is because they can maybe rent out a place to someone who could never afford to live in a place themselves, because the rents have gotten so crazy high.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're not allowing vacation rentals in any of those, and we're also not allowing even to rent for the first 10 years. So it's really going to be owner-occupant. And the one thing about this project, when a Lahaina man or woman moves here, they'll move, because there's nothing better.
Well, yeah, and there's a lot of loyalty to the Lahaina community, Lahaina Luna, and a lot of people just love that, they're very loyal to that area. It's amazing to me what they'll do for Lahaina Luna, and they'll all pull together, and get that, an amazing football field with houses built and everything. But so the average price for this would be about $250 less than what's the average median prices for home right now.
Boy, I would say would be way less than that. I mean, just so you know, Dylan's a Lahaina Luna grad.
Oh,
So-
there we go. Yay. Yeah. So
Go
you
Lunas.
know what that is, and they're
Go
amazing.
Lunas.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So
Very proud.
So what would the price be for some of these homes? And you have like 45 of these homes. Is it 45 affordable homes that you want to put on the market?
No, actually, if they pass, which, as I said, doesn't look like it's going to
I
happen.
like to be positive thinking.
Well,
Let's say that.
we just saw the vote.
Oh,
So,
did you?
But
Oh,
we
gosh.
so that's
Oh,
and I
I'm
could
sorry.
count. But they could change their minds by people always can change their minds. So,
Mm-hmm.
but we have 100 homes priced. The total development is 161 homes, but 100 homes are under the government workforce housing rules, which are sold, and they decide who they're sold to, and they're priced by a formula. And we have the formula today, but by the time we sell them, but I'd say in general it's in the 450 to 700, around there, which is between, wow, that's about how much less? Between $500,000 and,
Yeah.
yeah.
So then at that point, then people can get their own home. They can live in their home. And I know the issue came up, is people said, well, you're there 10 years and then they sell them. But isn't that an amazing story, that there's someone who never ever could have afforded a house. They are a homeowner for 10 years, and a lot of them will stay there because they're very loyal to Lahaina. And if they sell them, isn't that wonderful? That's like the American dream, right?
Yes, but yes, I agree with you. There also is a complicated shared appreciation. So if it goes way up, and you bought it very low, you might have to, more than likely, would have to give a portion of that to the county for their program. Yeah, it's just in general, if we build more houses, it'd be good for everybody. I don't see what would be wrong with building necessarily too many. I'd love to see a house like this at 400,000 stay empty. That, I mean, meaning that we've met the supply.
Well, that's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. That was just a kind of a stupid comment.
And the saddest part is I see local people, I mean, you were born here, right, Dylan?
Yep.
And were you born here, Dylan? Are you from here?
Yes.
And so how many people leave because they just can't afford to get a home, and the rents have gotten so crazy? I mean, really, you're paying about, what, $1,200, $1,500 for a studio, for a one-bedroom, $1,800, $1,900. I've seen one bed, two bedrooms, about $2,500 now. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, and I think the core of the issue with high rents or high home prices, it all goes back to a lack of supply.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're trying to address here with these types of affordable and workforce housing projects. It's definitely not the silver bullet to fix the issue, but it will help move things in the right direction.
So when everyone knows and everyone says this is the one major problem we're facing, where does it fall apart? Where does it break down? Where, are people sometimes swayed just by a few people that just say no, 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 no? Or where is the issue coming, and how can it be resolved? Because there's somehow this fact that we don't have homes to live in is somewhere along the line going to have to be dealt with. So if how do you resolve this situation? Any ideas?
Well, one is to vote yes on these projects, and vote every one of them. Keep voting yes till we make a dent in it.
How does it become political when we know that this is a need? How do you see what causes it to become a political situation?
That's a wonderful. Well, boy, that's a tough one. We watched the testimony from many of the people living in the subdivisions I did around there. Not the folks we originally sold to, but some of the newer ones, and they have concerns about the fire that was up there. There recently has been a change in the non-potable water, because the streams were diverted in the past, and now they have to run to the ocean. So we're really struggling and spending an awful lot of money to develop alternate wells, non-potable wells. Potable water is plenty of that. We're fine there. The system's good, which provides fire protection, but I think I was just out there this morning with Dave Manami. I believe we have our non-potable well enough to give everybody water for the foreseeable future, but it's going to take about, I'd say, just to get the right kind of electricity, the three-phase electricity and everything, it's going to probably take 1.5 years to really get a strong water system. The fire.
You're actually building a water system?
Well, we have one that's regulated by the Public Utilities Commission, which takes a lot of steps. But I'd rather let Dylan or Kyle speak to the opposition.
Well, Kyle hasn't said a word except yes, I think. So Kyle, it's your turn, Kyle.
He's the smartest one of us, too. So
part of the issue has been to be able to find entitled land to be able to build houses. And so if you look at West Maui, there are only certain locations that are vacant, and only certain landowners own the inventory of lands. And so for us, we're looking at opportunities to build homes in areas that would make sense. And for some of the opposition, they feel like it's the wrong place without really coming up with what is the right place, because there really is not much land available to do what is needed.
Is there a little bit of us and them in this?
I think so. I mean, it's unfortunate because for Peter, I mean, he's trying to help solve this dire shortage of affordable housing. And if you look at it, to provide 161 homes or lots for basically all locals, I mean, that's something that is unheard of now. And so it's unfortunate that he hasn't garnered the support from the community to try to address this problem. Because if you look at what is on the horizon for potential other projects to address the affordable housing issue, particularly in West Maui, it's quite slim. And so the demand stays the same. It keeps escalating, and the supply remains the same. So
and
it's
not
just
only
going to be
that, once
exacerbated.
person sees what you have to go through and how much it costs to try to do this, and then gets turned down, who else is going to be that foolish to try it? It's like you're going to look at this and going, hey, the odds are kind of against us here, right? I mean, look at how many times has Peter tried and he can't get it done. And if he can't get it done, who is going to get it done, right?
And that is an excellent question or excellent observation, because if you look at it, he's had to invest so much time and money and resources to get to this point. And a lot of the issues that are brought up, we are able to address. Or I think all of them we're able to address. And so it comes down to what will it take to get the yes vote. And that's the benchmark that we don't know what it is, and we'd like further clarity on to see, okay, do they want this or that in order to approve a subdivision? Because you may scare a lot of the different landowners away, not knowing what it would take to receive an approval.
Well, I'm going to make a wild guess on a few things, and I have no idea of the whole situation, but there are some very, very expensive homes that have been built up there. They're multi-million-dollar homes, right? Some going up to like 8 million, 10 million maybe, up there in that area.
Yeah, sure.
12 million. Is it possible that some of those people on that end might go, well, what's going to happen if we have a $500,000 or $450,000 house built in our neighborhood? I mean, do we want that in our backyard? And then maybe on the other side, there are some of the people that have been there a long time but are on the lower end, and they're going, well, what about us? Because there's new people coming in and they get to get a house and we already have this. Is there a little bit, and that's when I say us and them, is there a little bit of this seesaw strange pulling on either side about this issue?
That's actually very perceptive, because that's the two groups that have been in opposition. Those that currently have the $1 million homes and don't necessarily want the lower priced homes nearby, or those that currently don't have something that wouldn't qualify for these homes either. And so it is that push and pull from these other groups that really harm the situation for the hundreds, if not thousands, of other people trying to get a workforce home to live in the area where they work. Right.
It's very frustrating because in the old days you just pay them off, but I'm joking here. But I mean, in the old, if you go back to Wailea and some of those old days, right? I mean, there was, but trying to do it right is a lot harder, and trying to do it fair is a lot harder, and so we have this strange situation that's occurring, and trying to talk sense. It's really hard when you're not talking mental sense, but emotional sense that people won't admit to, right?
And part of our journey right now is to help with the education, because a lot of my, I grew up on Maui and went to Maui High, not Lahaina Luna. And a lot of my friends moved away, and a lot of them
Don't be jealous.
a lot of them still live with their parents because they can't afford homes. And a lot of them ask, okay, you work for a home builder. Why can't you just develop homes in the cane fields? Or, people don't realize that there are regulations in place that you need certain entitled lands to try to solve this problem.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, in certain areas, there just isn't the inventory of entitled lands that are available, or like I mentioned, the landowners don't necessarily want to delve into the process right now, seeing what's been happening to Peter, so that's kind of the plight right now. So we're trying to help educate the community on, what are some downstream ramifications of not supporting projects that could help the community.
And eventually that land is going to be developed. I mean, sooner or later, who knows when, but someday it will be, and it may not be all affordable, and it may not be really with the best intentions. If this doesn't go through, someday someone may just come in, and it will be 20 years, maybe from now, 15 years. But eventually something will happen. Why not go with what you know and what you've been honest with providing versus what is eventually going to happen if something isn't done soon. Right? What's the status like right now? What's the status with the council and what's going on, and what do people need to know about the situation at this point?
So we had an affordable housing committee meeting with the county council last week, Wednesday, where they didn't support the project. And
did they say why?
It was 3-4. 3 to 4.
Yeah, so it was three for the project and 4 against.
Wow.
And they brought up some issues that we feel we addressed, such as the water or issues with fire in the area. And, of course, we meet or exceed a lot of the fire code and the water issues that have arisen or that they brought up.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, I think the main decision was that, they don't like where it is or something like that. And what's most concerning, just as kind of what you mentioned about what would happen if this wouldn't go forward either now or next time, is there's 6 agricultural lots that's made up of these 2 projects. I mean, that's underlying these 2
We
projects.
only have 30 seconds left.
Oh, that's right.
45 seconds, but
Peter
that's,
end.
we're going to have to do a part 2. We're going to have to, because I want to hear that ending. But Peter, keep us posted on how this is going, and let people know. How can people's voice be heard? Is there a way people can let their voice be heard on this? Any ideas?
Yes, I would contact myself at petermartin@westmauiland.com, and we'll try to answer your questions or help you understand things or ask how you can participate.
All right. Well, thank you so much.